Van life isn't just sunsets and freedom, it's cold nights, constant stress, and sacrifices no one talks about. In this video, we're breaking down 10 reasons you might want to think twice before diving in. This is the side of van life nobody posts, but everyone should see. One of the most frustrating and underrated challenges of van life is the nightly quest for a safe, legal place to park. It might sound simple, but after a long day of driving or working remotely, the last thing you want is to spend hours circling neighborhoods or scanning apps for options that may already be full or restricted. In rural areas, you might find forest roads or designated BLM, Bureau of Land Management land, but those spots can be remote, hard to access without four-wheel drive, and sometimes unsafe due to isolation. In cities, the problem flips. You're close to resources, but parking comes with strict laws, no overnight parking signs, or the risk of a knock on your window at 2 a.m. by a cop or security guard. Even when you do find a spot, it might be sloped so badly that sleeping feels like you're on a carnival ride. Some places are near noisy traffic, late-night partiers, or sketchy activity. And while stealth camping sounds ideal, it only works until you get noticed. Then you're forced to move, sometimes in the middle of the night. Apps like iOverlander or Park4Night help, but they're not foolproof and often overcrowded. Constantly rotating spots also wears you down mentally. The "where do I sleep tonight?" question becomes a daily source of stress, not freedom. For many, this is the deal breaker. Parking isn't just a task, it becomes a lifestyle challenge. When you live in a van, everything is your responsibility, and it all breaks eventually. Unlike a traditional home or a car you use occasionally, your van is both. It's your house and your vehicle, so things wear out faster, especially when you're driving thousands of miles, camping off-grid, and using every system daily. Mechanical issues are inevitable. Brakes wear out, alternators die, suspensions sag under constant weight, and tires blow out in the worst places. If you're not mechanically inclined, prepare to spend big money on repairs or learn fast. YouTube tutorials become your lifeline. Then there's the house side. Plumbing leaks can destroy wood framing or insulation. A cracked water tank or a frozen pipe can leave you without water for days. Electrical issues are even more complicated. Solar systems, batteries, inverters, and charge controllers all need monitoring and regular upkeep. If your system fails, you might lose lights, refrigeration, Wi-Fi, and the ability to charge your devices, instantly disrupting your life. Even small things add up. Cabinet latches break from vibration, roof vents crack from sun exposure, insulation shifts, and doors warp. You'll always be fixing something, often in a Walmart parking lot or dusty trailhead with limited tools. This isn't a weekend project you can put off. In van life, maintenance isn't optional, it's survival. If you're not ready to be your own repair tech, van life can quickly become overwhelming, expensive, and exhausting. Van life is often sold as an escape from high rent and bills, but the truth is, the costs just shift, and in many cases, they pile up in ways you didn't expect. First, the initial build or purchase isn't pocket change. Even a used van with a basic DIY build can run $10,000 to $20,000, and that's if you're lucky. Professionally converted vans easily cost $50,000 or more. Then come the hidden expenses: insulation, solar panels, water systems, kitchen appliances, bedding, and storage solutions. The list adds up quickly. Next, you have recurring costs that never go away. Fuel is a constant expense. Vans aren't fuel efficient, especially when loaded down. And when you're traveling long distances frequently, your gas budget can rival what you used to pay in rent. Then there's insurance, not just for the vehicle, but also for liability and belongings. Some insurers won't even cover DIY builds properly, forcing you into specialty policies that cost more. You'll also need campground fees, apps, navigation tools, propane refills, cooking fuel, and occasional city parking. Don't forget maintenance tools, emergency repair kits, replacement parts, and cleaning supplies. Even finding reliable mobile Wi-Fi comes at a monthly premium. And unless you're totally off-grid, you'll still be paying for laundry, showers, groceries, and digital services like Netflix or cloud storage. In the end, van life isn't always cheaper. It's just a different kind of expensive. Romanticizing the lifestyle without budgeting properly is a fast track to financial stress. The biggest surprise for many new van lifers? Just how mentally and physically limiting it feels to live in such a confined space. 24/7. A van may seem spacious when it's parked and the doors are open to a scenic view. But when it's raining, freezing, or you're parked on a city street with the curtains drawn, that freedom shrinks fast. There's no place to escape. You don't have separate rooms for sleeping, eating, relaxing, or working. Everything happens in the same few square feet. Your kitchen is within arm's reach of your bed. Your shoes, gear, food, and clothes are all packed into tiny cabinets and under-seat storage that constantly need rearranging to access anything. When you get sick, feel tired, or just want personal space, there's nowhere to go. Even stretching your arms or standing upright might not be an option depending on your van build. Want to work out, meditate, dance? You'll have to get creative or go outside, which isn't always possible. Small messes feel massive. One dish in the sink, one pair of shoes left out, or an unmade bed can make your entire space feel chaotic. And when you're sharing the van with a partner or pet, the stress multiplies. There's no room to cool off during disagreements or find alone time. Tiny living requires constant mental effort, minimalist discipline, and a tolerance for tight quarters most people underestimate. In van life, the idea of having a private space is mostly an illusion. Your van may feel like your home, but in reality, you're almost always exposed to the outside world. You're cooking just feet away from strangers in parking lots, brushing your teeth at gas station sinks, and changing clothes behind blackout curtains that never feel quite secure. Even when you're parked somewhere quiet, there's an unshakable awareness that anyone could walk by, knock on your window, or peek inside. You develop a hyper-awareness of sound, light, and movement. Every noise outside can feel intrusive, and even simple tasks like opening the back doors or stepping out to stretch can feel like putting on a show for anyone nearby. Forget spontaneous routines. Want to have a deep conversation, meditate, record a video, or take a nap during the day? You'll find yourself scanning for people nearby who might hear or judge you. Your routine becomes dictated by your surroundings. Personal hygiene becomes a public affair too. Showering at gyms, shaving in public bathrooms, or setting up a solar shower outdoors all come with the awkwardness of being watched or judged. Even digital privacy is a concern. Public Wi-Fi often means unsecured networks, and there's always the risk of someone noticing you're living in your vehicle, leading to complaints, warnings, or worse. Over time, the lack of true solitude wears on you. In van life, you're never truly alone, even when you desperately want to be. One of the biggest headaches in van life is navigating the patchwork of unclear, inconsistent, and often unfriendly laws around vehicle dwelling. There's no national rulebook. Every city, county, and even neighborhood can have its own interpretation of whether sleeping in a vehicle is legal, tolerated, or strictly prohibited. Some places have ordinances that ban camping in public, while others specifically outlaw sleeping in a vehicle overnight, regardless of where you're parked. These rules often aren't posted clearly, leaving you guessing until a warning note, ticket, or knock at midnight tells you otherwise. Private property presents its own risks. Even if you park in a business lot or behind a friend's house, you could be trespassing without clear permission. Some cities now use surveillance, license plate tracking, and citizen complaints to crack down on vehicle dwellers, especially in high-cost urban areas where stealth camping has increased. And don't forget HOA-controlled suburbs or tourist towns that actively push out nomads to preserve the community image. You could be treated like a criminal simply for parking too long. Navigating these legal gray zones becomes a full-time job. You constantly research local codes, study overnight parking apps, and balance stealth with stress. And even if you're respectful and quiet, you're often one complaint away from a fine or forced move. Van life isn't just about freedom. It's about staying one step ahead of the law. While van life offers endless change and adventure, that same mobility makes it incredibly difficult to build anything lasting. You're always in motion, which can be exciting, but it comes at the cost of stability. Relationships become harder to maintain. Making new friends is possible on the road, but keeping them is another story. You might hit it off with someone at a campsite or event, but by the next week, you're hundreds of miles apart. Long-term friendships, local hangouts, and the sense of being part of a real community are rare luxuries. Establishing routines is also a challenge. Your gym, grocery store, favorite coffee shop, they're always changing. Even basics like finding reliable mail service, a doctor, or a place to vote become complicated. Every new town means starting from scratch, which can be mentally exhausting over time. Thinking of adopting a pet. While a dog might love the travel, regular vet visits, off-leash time, and proper socialization can be harder to provide on the road. And forget about owning things like a garden, workshop, or permanent creative space. They simply don't fit in van life. When every decision is temporary, it's hard to feel grounded. Van life becomes a series of short-term solutions, not a long-term foundation. If you're someone who craves roots, routine, or tangible progress in one place, the constant movement of van life can leave you feeling unanchored. Freedom is fun, but without a place to land, it can start to feel like you're floating through life without direction. No matter how clean, organized, or expensive your van is, society still hasn't caught up with the idea that vehicle living can be a choice, not just a last resort. If you live in a van, especially in cities or suburban neighborhoods, people will make assumptions, and often not the kind you'd hope for. To some, you're not a traveler or digital nomad, you're just homeless. Strangers may see your parked van and assume you're down on your luck, squatting, or a potential threat. This can lead to dirty looks, uncomfortable confrontations, or even police being called simply because you exist in a space people don't think you belong. The judgment doesn't stop there. Job interviews, dating, family visits, mentioning you live in a van can spark awkward questions or even outright disbelief. You'll hear everything from, "When are you getting a real place?" to, "Are you okay financially?" Even supportive friends may treat it as a phase you'll grow out of. And then there's online hate. Sharing your lifestyle publicly, whether on social media or YouTube, opens the door to trolls who accuse you of glorifying poverty or pretending to be a minimalist while taking up parking space meant for real people. The truth is, van life challenges the status quo, and people fear what they don't understand. While some will admire your freedom, many won't see past their own bias. Over time, the constant need to explain or defend your lifestyle can wear you down. One of the most underestimated challenges of van life? Staying clean. When you don't have a built-in shower, and most vans don't, every shower becomes a mission, and often a compromise. Public showers at truck stops, campgrounds, or gyms are the go-to solution, but they come at a cost. Gym memberships add monthly fees, and while nationwide chains like Planet Fitness offer flexibility, you still have to find one nearby, and not every town has one. Truck stop showers can run $10 to $15 a pop, and while they're usually clean, waiting in line with long-haul drivers at midnight isn't exactly glamorous. Some van lifers rely on solar showers, black bags that heat up in the sun and hang off the back doors. But they only work in warm, sunny conditions and offer cold, gravity-fed water that barely lasts 5 minutes. And forget about privacy unless you're way off-grid. On cold or rainy days, showers often get skipped. You adapt with wet wipes, dry shampoo, or sponge baths in a tiny sink, if you have one. Smelling bad or feeling greasy isn't just unpleasant, it can affect your mood and motivation. Even water availability plays a role. You'll constantly be tracking where to fill up your fresh water tank, how much you can use, and how often you'll need to dump gray water, making basic hygiene feel like a luxury task, not a routine. At first, the solitude of van life feels like freedom. No neighbors, no small talk, no interruptions, just you, the road, and nature. But after the novelty wears off, that peaceful quiet can turn into a heavy silence. Spending long stretches alone, especially in remote areas, can mess with your head. There are days where you might not speak to another human in person. No waves from a neighbor, no casual banter at a local store, just silence. And if you're introverted, this might sound ideal, until you realize how much we rely on small social interactions for emotional balance. Loneliness doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in slowly, in the form of lack of motivation, brain fog, or a feeling of disconnection from the world. When you're constantly moving, it's hard to build lasting relationships. Even if you meet people, most of those connections are temporary. Everyone's on their own journey, chasing different destinations. It gets worse during holidays, birthdays, or hard days when you wish someone was just there. Video calls help, but they don't replace a shared cup of coffee or a real hug. And if you're traveling solo, safety concerns can amplify isolation. You might choose to avoid social settings just to keep yourself protected. Van life can be freeing, but without meaningful connection, that freedom can start to feel like emotional exile. One of the most surprising and exhausting parts of van life is how relentlessly minimalist it forces you to be. It starts before you even hit the road. Every square inch matters. You don't just ask, "Do I want this?" You ask, "Can I justify the space, weight, and function of this item every single day? That guitar you love? Too bulky? Your art supplies?" Even small things like extra shoes or kitchen gadgets often get cut. And yet, no matter how much you eliminate, clutter still builds. Living in a van means you're constantly shifting items around, moving gear to access the fridge, relocating bedding to cook, or digging through drawers just to find a pen. The more you carry, the harder it is to stay organized. Even with clever storage hacks, it never truly feels settled. What makes it more frustrating is how much you give up. Creative hobbies, collections, fitness routines, or anything requiring physical space often get shelved, and every purchase becomes a dilemma. What will I have to give up to make room? Over time, this lifestyle can feel less freeing and more restrictive. It's not just about owning less, it's about constantly managing the limits of what you can keep. Van life isn't all dreamy sunrises and road trips. There's a tougher side most people never see. But if you're still curious, if something in you still craves that freedom, our next video is for you. We'll show you how to actually make van life work without burning out. Comment below, what shocked you most, or what's still holding you back? We'll see you in the next one.